There's one thing that happens when there's a new person who comes to the group. It's almost immediate. I love Zoom because you can see the relief on the individual's face. There's it just, I don't know, it transcends words to see someone who is so totally and completely relieved to be around people who understand what they're talking about, understand their frustration and grief and sorrow and anger. It's just such tremendous relief to be around people who understand. If you have a gaming addict in your life and you try to, which I really didn't, it was beyond words what I was seeing. Doctors would mock me. Um, if you've tried to explain your situation to your neighbor, your girlfriend from high school or whatever, they don't have unless they've seen this, they don't have a clue what you're talking about. They just don't. And my experience with the quote professionals dealing with this is that the people now monetizing gaming addiction and making a career, they don't have a loved one that's addicted to gaming. They don't have a child, or they're not married to a gaming addict. I haven't come across a single professed expert who's lived with this and genuinely knows what they're talking about. Uh, yeah, if someone comes to mind that claims to be an addict, has certain opinions about it, that went to Harvard. I wouldn't consider that guy particularly knowledgeable or helpful. Just my opinion. Remember, you get to take what you like and leave the rest here. So, but there's relief. There's just plain relief. And I think the relief is compounded by the high standard of confidentiality and privacy that is required to participate in a 12-step program. So here we go. April 20th. In Al-Anon, I'm learning that it is safe to be myself. Today, I share with Al-Anon friends embarrassing secrets I once would have buried from sight. Sometimes I have to fight the old urge to keep quiet at all costs. But I have found that sharing is the key to healing. For example, I was embarrassed about my physical appearance, especially about my smile. Years of humiliating criticism from addicted relatives had left me feeling very insecure. It seemed best to reveal as little about myself as possible, and I avoided smiling altogether. Unfortunately, I continued to believe the criticisms, so I thought very badly of myself. By sharing honestly with people I can trust, I challenge the old negative ideas. My Al Anon friends assure me that the criticisms were exaggerated. Nobody seems to find me unworthy because of my smile. In Al Anon, I can come out of hiding and even free to break into a grin. Today's reminder: even when I feel ashamed, someone in the fellowship can help me see my situation in a different light. With their help, if I'm willing to permit it, the truth will set me free. And here's the quote: you get to the point where your demons, which are terrifying, get smaller and smaller, and you get bigger and bigger. And that's a quote from August Wilson. So I'm trying to think about what specifically to confess around gaming addiction. And usually we actually have a pretty good laugh about some of the things we've done to cope with the gaming addict in our life. And I just want to say that at one point I confessed, well, I was married to a computer scientist and there were computers everywhere. And at one point in time, I was so frustrated with the addict in my household that I took a hammer to a laptop. And, the funny thing is my significant other went out and paid $2,000 and got him a super duper, you know, great, fantastic gaming console, because, oh, there was this abusive mother in the household. So after I told that story, we shared stories about things we've done to electronics. I've heard stories of people driving over phones. Like, you know, yeah, yeah, living with an addict, especially if you're not sleeping, will really put you on edge and push you over the edge. But it's good to be able to laugh about it. It really is. Um, Far better than crying. Anyway, dealing with an addict, dealing with a gaming addict, dealing with all the people who provide phones and uh, electronics and fancy things and use material things to control the addict, to control the flow, are are a huge problem. So please remember, I just want to say this again, addicts don't get better until all the enablers are either out of their life or those individuals stop enabling. That's what I know. If you are concerned about an addict in your life and you've tried to set some boundaries around those behaviors, particularly if you're a parent, I want to applaud you. It's brave, it's courageous, it's exhausting. Um, and I know most of you probably feel pretty darn defeated. But you're not alone, and there is help, and there is a way out of this. So blessings for your day. And yeah, all those things that you feel ashamed of, or you feel bad about yourself because you got angry, that those just need to be brought out into the light of day. And you got to send those things on their way. We were doing our best with a very difficult situation. Blessings on your day.